Welcome back to Crusade with me. This is episode 128, entitled Mawiage. And we're going to take 39 years of experience and break it down for anybody looking at just getting started. Well, hello, my bride. How are you?
I am good. I'm a little tired.
I know. And this is, well, a couple of things have happened this last several days. One is, life gets busy sometimes, and I've been really busy at work.
Mm-hmm.
And just some heavy things going on at work, just trying to manage and take care of and oversee. And a lot of scheduling, and I'm not talking about work now. I mean, yes, talking about work and a lot of scheduling, but I'm talking about just in our personal lives, a lot of scheduling. And we just discussed, this is Sunday afternoon, and we are now sitting down to do a couple of podcasts. But we had some nice time. Friday, I got out of work a little bit later than normal on a Friday specifically. And then we had to drive 2 hours because I have a nephew that just got married on Saturday. And it was very refreshing. It was nice to have that. It's always nice to go away with you, but I'm saying it was also refreshing. We were able to connect and chat and talk that we had not done a lot of lately, even when I get home. I'm a little bit, for lack of a better term, preoccupied, thinking about work things and checking my phone and statuses and things of that nature, because it's almost, I feel like it's been for a couple of weeks now, hour by hour, day by day, as far as activities. So we did take some time Friday, and we had, because it was a couple of hours, the wedding was a couple of hours away, you had acquired an Airbnb, so we spent 2 nights at an Airbnb, a couple of hours away from the house, and was able to sit out on the patio and drink some wine Friday night and just chat a little bit, because we really hadn't done that. And then we had time Saturday morning prior to the wedding. The wedding wasn't until 5 o'clock in the evening. And we were able to, again, get breakfast, go out and get breakfast, nice little place to have breakfast, and then kind of tour the town. It was a small, kind of touristy town. And then come back to the Airbnb and get ready for the wedding. And then very nice wedding. It was near and dear to my heart. When you're not going to have a wedding in a church, which I would prefer, this was the next best thing.
A distillery.
It was in a distillery, yes. So in my eyes, very good.
And I don't know where you as a listener might live, but it is on average unseasonably warm where we live.
In the Midwest.
And it is by 20 degrees, 19 to 20 degrees. Warmer by the day on average for the season. So...
Are you going to talk about the amount that I was sweating and profusely sweating?
Everyone was.
Older fat slob that I am now.
And so I'm sure that when these, and I'm going to call them kids, we're looking at
They're
this.
significantly younger than our kids.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know about how
30.
significantly.
30.
Yeah, okay.
So so yeah, I'm sure when they were looking at this facility, they were thinking, okay, October 4th, it's going to be a nice fall day.
Right. And I think they even made reference to that.
And it was 85.
Yes.
And and there's close to 300 people. And
correct.
They could just, the air conditioner could not keep up.
And that was before the dancing began.
Yeah, we got out of there right after that. But there's food servers and bartenders, and they're trying to carry out all this. It was just,
It was tough.
I
It was
was sweating in all the unmentionable places. And everyone around us. So,
Yes,
I mean,
yeah,
we were
yeah.
all in the same boat.
correct. It was a great time, though. I had a great time.
I had a great time. I love catching up with all the nieces and nephews.
Yes,
And the
yes.
great nieces and nephews. I mean, that's
Yes,
how, I mean, you're the baby of
my side of the family.
of your six siblings. So, I mean, your sisters.
I've got 5 older sisters. Right now, I'm the baby,
Right.
and my baby sister, and this is her son that got married. She's 5 years older than I am.
Right. So, I mean, so your nieces and nephews
Correct.
have children that are,
Correct.
well, I think the oldest of the great grandchildren. Well, he told me last night that he is
27.
27.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're adults,
Right.
good size adults too. I could pick him out of the crowd because he towers over me. So it was good to catch up with all of them.
It really is. It really is. And then seeing Jordan and
Yes.
his bride.
Yes, always.
Always good to see.
And then, of course, we do, which we've discussed before, we have a canned recording about our dear Laura that we have asked for prayers for, and to see her and her husband there.
Yes. Yes.
And the advances that she has made just since we've seen her was that back in
This is summer because we were at,
at a barbecue. And yeah, God is good. God
Yes,
is
he
so
is.
good. I mean,
Yes, he is.
her life as she knew it will not return, but
They're making
their new normal
yes,
is
they are
is
plowing
good.
ahead. They are plowing ahead. That is awesome.
Yep.
And had a fabulous conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, very good. He
The
was
oldest
talking
nephew.
about
Yeah.
well, no, yeah, my nephew. And just had a great conversation with him. And I think I had lauded what he was doing in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that continues.
Mm-hmm.
And it will, we're coming up on, I believe we're at the 10-month mark now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah,
It happened a couple days before Christmas.
right.
And when you said goodbye, what did she say to you, Laura?
She said, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was,
And the emotions are just under the flesh with that one.
yes,
She cries.
Yes.
She celebrates.
That's awesome.
Her one arm is immobile, but when she wants to clap, she takes her left hand and she pounds it on the table.
yes, I love that.
She is a celebratory.
She has a lot of reasons to be.
Yes, yep. No moment is left uncelebrated, I believe. with
Well,
her.
as Grant and I were talking, look, her mind is sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Her mind, she
It's
hasn't lost
just
anything in her
being
mind.
able
It's
to
physically
verbalize.
verbalizing and getting some appendages to move has been a struggle, but her mind is sharp. It's there.
Yeah. What a
which is-
blessing
Yes.
she is to
yes,
watch
Yes.
overcome her obstacles.
Yes. And so, we mentioned this a couple weeks ago that it was last Saturday, I guess it was. We had celebrated our 39th wedding anniversary, and thought, you know what? A couple things. One, we have already recorded 2 episodes that we were going to drop, but we did it Thursday evening. And we were both really tired, and so I have deleted those 2
We
episodes.
just weren't feeling them.
Yeah, and I've decided that look, this is going to be a little bit of a turning point for us and the Crusade With Me podcast for 2 reasons. One is, for some time now, we have been producing and publishing 3 episodes per week. So we are going to reduce that to 2. And just to truly make an effort, it's not about quantity, but it's about quality. And that's what I want to really focus on going forward. And since we just were at this wedding, and then we just celebrated our 39th wedding anniversary, we thought, you know what, we're going to do one. I've said this repeatedly. I don't know much, right? I'm an expert at nothing. So we thought, I think we both discussed this, that this would be a good opportunity for us to sit here. And we're not sitting here making this episode for Tyler and Kayla, who just got married on Saturday. We're making this for anyone. And I don't care what, but just to the number of years you've been together or married, just some things that we've learned over the years. And this is not because we're exceptionally smart. This is just because we've lived it, okay? And so those are the things I want to. So I challenged you Friday night, come up with 3 things that you would like to share. I think at that time I said, if we could do it,
we could go over them and share them. And I said, no,
Tyler
I think it'd be more fun to because you're like, well, we can't have the same things, and I'm like,
well, why not?
oh, I think it should be kind of
Right.
Revealing at the same time. Because what if they are the same things? Then that just shows how important they are.
I love when you get revealing. So, would you like to kick us off with your first do and or don't, speaking from experience for 39 years?
Again, I'm like,
You
I don't know
look
if I have.
so young to be celebrating 39 years of marriage together.
Well, I certainly felt like I was too. Yeah, I think I said that to a lot of people who told us happy anniversary. I'm like, I feel too young to be married this many years. Definitely. But, and as your oldest sister said, well, that's what happens when you get married as a baby.
Yes. And full disclosure, right? I mean, we probably have beaten a lot of odds, and I think I've probably shared that before because I think we talked about this before.
And this is just a joke, but sometimes when the years got tough, I think when we might have wanted to put, throw in the towel, we thought about all those naysayers, and we're like, no,
we're not going to let them win.
We're not going to let them win.
That's true. That is very, very true.
Yeah.
You're right.
Funny. Okay, my number one do is communicate, and not just talk, but listen, and listen without distractions.
Okay, communications. That's key. You're right.
And if you don't know how, learn.
Yeah, that takes a while sometimes.
It does.
It took me a
yeah.
while, right?
Well, I mean, I would hope that before you get
and you know what?
to the
Your
marriage,
number one is related to my number 2.
Yeah.
So
I would hope before you get to the ceremony, you've learned to communicate, but,
well, I think that's a tall order because let's be honest. Let's be introspective here. Did we know how to communicate
No.
prior to our? No, we did not.
No,
let's not.
we were running on a lot of feelings.
Yes, we were. Hormones. Anyway. Right. Let's recap for those who might not have listened to a previous episode where I think we did share our story a little bit about. We met in church. And we were both in a youth group together. We grew up in that youth group together. Now, we were in separate states, but we went to the same church because my parents were more pious and devout than yours and drove like an hour a day to Sunday.
Stop it. You are historical revisionist, but whatever. But we went out on our very first date. I'm going to try to make
Yes.
this the day after my 15th birthday.
Was it your 15th?
Yes, it was my day after my 15th. That's why I always say, what were my parents thinking?
Holy shit. What were your parents thinking?
Yeah.
Nah.
And then we got engaged when I was 17. I was a senior in high school. And then we got married the following, I graduated in June. We got married in September.
Correct. Yeah.
So
I had to wait for
I
you
was
to get
18 and you were 21.
Yeah, I had to wait to get your diploma.
So your father was always very concerned that you were 3 years older than me and we were crossing the state lines.
Yes, he was.
Once a week
He was, yeah.
To date, because you would either come to my house or you'd pick me up and we'd go that way on the
Right.
weekends sometimes. But anyways, or when I finally turned 16, I would drive out there, and one time my 1976 Ford Granada.
The
Radiator was
radiator
leaking.
was, yeah.
And he was out there trying to work on it for
I
me.
remember
And
that.
he was all rezzle, frezzle, frickum, 15-year-old girl coming over here, Illinois,
I do
blah,
remember
blah,
that.
blah, blah. And I came around the corner. He's like, hey, I'm going to have this fixed in a minute. I'm like, yeah, well, I heard all that, but I get it from a parent's perspective. He's thinking, my son's going to go to jail.
Correct, probably. Yeah. I just stayed clear of the law. Right?
You just outran him.
No. Don't say that. We got grandchildren that listen to this.
Yeah. Okay, anyways, what's your number one?
My number one is, it's a do, like yours. Mine is my created word, stick-to-itiveness. Right? So stick-to-itiveness is a redneck term, I think. But we could truly say either endurance, need to build a little endurance, and or / an ownership mindset. In other words, marriage is a covenant. Marriage, I don't care if it's in the church, outside the church, it is a promise. It is not a contract. All right? So get the contract out of your mind. It's not a contract. It is a covenant. That's why I say ownership versus renting. You're not renting a bride. You're in it. You're committed.
Yeah, you stole that from my boyfriend.
Yes. But that applies to so many things. I mean, ownership, and I'm not talking about one owns the other. I'm talking about the commitment of we're all in. It's not, it's a month-to-month lease and we're just checking it out, waiting to see. I'm talking about you own it.
Or every time you get in a fight, you throw the D word out.
Correct. Another term that I really liked that your boyfriend used when I've referenced this, I think on previous episodes, is we all love to have the safety parachute. We have this parachute, we just want to pull the cord. That's a lack of stick-to-itiveness. And a lot of times we pull the cord for safety to say, I'm out or I'm done or whatever. And we don't know if we would have just let it go a little bit longer, would have been okay. Right?
Right.
And I think that's a great analogy, that whole analogy of choosing to stay. Now, you can choose to stay and become a big splat, but that's probably a very small percentage in all seriousness. And you know me, I love history. And I can't help but think about ownership, stick-to-itiveness, commitment, and not think of Caesar when he decided that he was going to take his legions and go into Germany and conquer Germany. And they came up against a river. And his legion was stymied because there was no way to cross. And in the matter of weeks, they built bridges to get the legions across the river. And he got his legion across the river. And then he burned the bridges. There's no going back.
Right.
We are going to conquer. We are going to win. We're not going to run back across that bridge. And he burned it. I think people need to go into marriage and say, we are crossing this Rubicon together. And burn the damn bridges.
Do you remember one of the first times we had a fight? I went home
I do remember that.
I mean, I
do.
didn't like pack my stuff and go
No,
home.
no, no, no. You left the apartment.
I went to my mom's and dad's.
Which was like 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were renting an apartment. Yeah. It was just a couple blocks. And my parents said, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Well, we had a fight." They're like, "Okay, go home."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I did come home. I came home to like get some support." And they're like, "No, turn yourself around
Yep.
and go back home and work it out.
Correct.
This is not where you can come visit, but you don't come here when you have a fight. Turn yourself around and go back." And
right.
we as parents
We've lived
of
that.
adult children need to tell the same thing to our children.
Correct. That's that ownership mentality.
This is a haven for you and your spouse. This is a haven for you and your family, but this is not a haven
For just you.
for you when you're fighting with your spouse.
No.
That was a very impactful moment
Absolutely.
for me. And that kind of lays the groundwork for we don't throw the D word around, because I always knew
never have.
I did not have a place to go.
Correct.
If that was my mindset, I had no support.
And we talked about this, I believe, this morning. Is what a example that Tyler and Kayla had. And I don't know her family at all. I mean, Tyler is my nephew, is my youngest sister's son, whom we've not had a strong relationship with, just to be clear. And not that we've not had a strong relationship. We've moved away, and he lives out in
On his own. And
yes, right. So it's just
and what
adult
few family
life.
events. Well, and the family's so large that everybody's
Correct.
kind of broken off into their own
Little
singular
events.
families.
Right.
And so it's been many years since we've even seen him.
So meeting her parents, and I mean just shaking hands, not really knowing them, but I would say that they are examples of 50 plus years of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got my sisters sitting at table with their spouses, and 3 of the 5 have 50 plus years of marriage under their belts.
Mm-hmm.
My parents had 55 years of marriage before Dad passed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was 55. Tyler has seen examples
Right.
of Mawiages
Mm-hmm.
working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Kayla and her parents,
Mm-hmm.
she has seen marriages working, which is awesome, which is something that we need to, and that's kind of what precipitated this episode, right?
Right.
I want to look in Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. I want to jump up. I want to go up to verse 22, and I'll read 22 through 24. It says, "The Lord God fashioned into a woman the rib which he had taken from the man and brought her to the man. The man said, 'Wow.'" Okay. He didn't say wow. He did say wow, but it's not the way we translated it to English here. "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Then I want to jump over into Malachi. Malachi is always interesting and sometimes hard to find, especially in my new Bible I just bought. Because in this Bible, because it's larger print, Malachi is like 1.5 pages. So it's a large Bible, large book. Malachi 2 says, "Do we not all have one Father? Has not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously each against his brother, so as to profane the covenant of our fathers? Judah has dealt treacherously, and an abomination has been committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah has profaned the sanctuary of the Lord, which he loves, and has married the daughters of a foreign god. As for the man who does this, may the Lord cut off from the tents of Jacob everyone who awakes and answers, or who presents an offering to the Lord of hosts. This is another thing you do. You cover the altar of the Lord with tears, with weeping, with groaning, because he no longer regards the offering or accepts it with favor from your hand. Yet you say, for what reason? Because the Lord has been a witness between you and the wife of your youth, against whom you dealt treacherously, though she is your companion and your wife by covenant." But not one has done so who has a remnant of the Spirit. And what did that one do while he was seeking a godly offspring? Take heed then to your spirit, and let no one deal treacherously against the wife of your youth. We have been warned. We can also look in my favorite book, Ecclesiastes chapter 4. I'm going to start up on verse 8, even though it's, there was a certain man without a dependent, having neither a son nor a brother, yet there was no end to all his labor. Indeed, his eyes were not satisfied with riches, and he never asked, "And for whom am I laboring and depriving myself of pleasure?" This too is vanity, and it is a grievous task. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. For if either of them falls, the one will lift up his companion. But woe to the one who falls when there is not another to lift him up. Furthermore, if two lie down together, they keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? And if you can overpower him who is alone, two can resist him. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly torn apart. And of course, most weddings you will hear this read. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. If I speak with the tongue of men and of angels, but do not have love, I have become a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have the gift of prophecy, and know all mystery and all knowledge, and if I have all faith, as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. And if I give all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I surrender my body to be burned, but do not have love, it profits me nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. And it is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant. does not act unbecomingly. It does not seek its own, is not provoked, does not take into account a wrong suffered, does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. But if there are gifts of prophecy, they will be done away. If there are tongues, they will cease. If there is knowledge, it will be done away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when the perfect comes, the partial will be done away. When I was a child, I used to speak like a child, think like a child, reason like a child. When I became a man, I did away with childish things. For now we see in the mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I will know fully, just as I also have been fully known. But now faith, hope, and love abide, these three. But the greatest of these is love. That's where stick-to-itiveness and ownership come into marriage.
Mm-hmm.
My love, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is that your spouse comes first over all others, including your children,
Amen.
whether
Yes.
they be young or adults.
That's great advice, because that's not what we've done. I mean,
No.
we didn't do that, but that's important.
Mm-hmm.
But we managed through.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, because guess what happens?
Well,
The children.
some of this advice is also learning from the mistakes.
That's exactly right.
made.
Exactly. That's what I was saying earlier. This is from experience. This is not because we're
Yeah.
super smart. This is from real experience.
It could be because we're super sorry.
Could be. I love that. And my number 2 was kind of related to that and also related to your first one about communication. My number 2 is being present.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
And my view is presence is more than proximity.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you can sit on the couch or you can, and if you're scrolling or you're reading or you're watching TV, and trust me, I love
We
a
do all
good-
those things.
I love a good sitting on the TV and or watching a movie and holding hands. That's important too.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
we talk a lot about touch. You know, sometimes I just have to put my foot against your foot and
Right.
I'm fine.
I
That's
know.
all I need.
I get that. I absolutely get
But
that.
it's also important to make sure you're feeding all the other stuff.
Correct. So that means showing up emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you are called cold-hearted,
I don't believe I've ever used those words.
exactly. That is a wake-up call. So, but what you're also talking about is listen without distractions. So put the phone down.
Mm-hmm.
I know that email is important, it may be pretty important, but is it that important? Right? Listen without distractions. Here's a novel concept. You know how you can be present emotionally, spiritually, physically. Pray together.
Mm-hmm.
Another way, worship together. And this is, you talk about a slow learner. I'm a slow learner. Be mindful of your spouse's pain points, right? Because marriage is two people carrying each other's burdens. So if you're aloof, you need to practice more empathy. So the only thing I know to do is ask, how can I lighten that burden? Instead of, why don't you lighten my burden, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we jump over into Philippians chapter 2, and it says, therefore, if there is any encouragement in Christ, if there is any consolation of love, if there is any fellowship of the Spirit, if any affection and compassion, make my joy complete by being of the same mind, maintaining the same love, united in spirit, intent on one purpose. Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind regard one another as more important than yourselves. Do not merely look out for your own personal interest, but also for the interest of others. Have this attitude in yourselves, which was also in Christ Jesus. I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes straight to the mark. We can also look over in Galatians chapter 6. It says, brethren, even if anyone is caught in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, each one looking to yourself, so that you too will not be tempted. Bear one another's burdens, and thereby fulfill the law of Christ. We are called to bear one another's burdens. We can also look over, and obviously in 1 Peter, chapter 3. And I'll start at the beginning of chapter 3, even though it's not where I wanted to get to. But I'll start at the beginning. I'm reading out of a New American Standard Bible version, just because it comes up in a lot of, for accuracy from the Greek. In the same way, you wives, be submissive to your own husbands, so that even if any of them are disobedient to the word, they may be won without a word by the behavior of their wives. As they observe your chaste and respectful behavior, your adornment must not be merely external, braiding the hair, wearing gold jewelry, or putting on dresses, but let it be the hidden person of the heart, with the imperishable quality of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in the sight of God. For in this way, in former times, the holy women also, who hoped in God, used to adorn themselves, being submissive to their own husbands, just as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, and you have become her children if you do what is right without being frightened by any fear. You husbands, in the same way, live with your wives in an understanding way, as with someone weaker, since she is a woman, and show her honor as a fellow heir of the grace of life, so that your prayer will not be hindered. To sum up, all of you be harmonious, sympathetic, brotherly, kind-hearted, and humble in spirit, not returning evil for evil or insult for insult, but giving a blessing instead, for you were called for the very purpose that you might inherit a blessing. I just feel like that don't need to add a lot there.
No.
And of course, we could always look at James chapter 1. And I'll start in verse 19. This you know, my beloved brethren, but everyone must be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. For the anger of man does not achieve the righteousness of God. That's just good life skill that a lot of us must learn. That was my number 2, my love. What is your number 3?
Continue to date your spouse.
And what do you mean by date?
Put time, energy, thoughtfulness.
Yeah, be present.
The way you treated them before you married them.
That's a great idea. I know you're going to be shocked. Do you know what my number 3 is?
What?
Never underestimate the importance of intimacy.
Well, you could tie that into dating.
Yeah. That's why I bought a truck. No, I'm just... No, sexual intimacy creates a unique bond. You know, science confirms hormonal and neurological bonding, oxytocin, vasopressin. Emotional and spiritual glue is God designed this connection. And I don't know why all this stuff is coming up on my social media, but I've been seeing a lot of stuff which I'm not disagreeing with. It's just, well, I think it's speaking to the times we live in. And talking about dating a woman. First of all, I think we grew up differently. We didn't date to date. We dated to marry, right?
Right. Date with intent. That was like one of the things on our high school classroom, Sunday school room. Whatever.
Correct.
Date with intention.
Correct. So we weren't just looking for, and there's a different mindset in the world. And there's this mindset out there that, okay, we talked about this on previous episodes about women's power and women's rights and all this. And I'm a firm believer in women's rights, right, and women's power. But when you go down that path, you're starting to ask for things. And the world takes things and really turns them.
Mm-hmm.
So then men are left in a position that, okay, now I have this woman I'm dating, I'm very interested in. And the vernacular they use nowadays is, well, this woman has a high body count. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. Isn't it interesting, over time, what has always been the gold standard, right? You wanted to marry a virgin and have this virgin bride, right?
Right.
Well, science is catching up and learning that, guess what? There is actually proof that there is intimacy creates connection.
Mm-hmm.
Not just physically.
Mm-hmm.
It's physical, but it's physical and mental and psychological.
Mm-hmm.
And spiritual.
Mm-hmm. We talk about often when we reminisce. One of the most favorite things about our wedding was not part of the actual day, the ceremony and all of that. It was the waking up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m.
And you were still there.
Right.
Yes.
Still in our wedding clothes.
Yes. We had passed out.
Almost 40 years ago, there was no dancing. There was no
In our circle.
Yeah. But anyways, it wasn't these big things that they've grown in to be expensive.
Correct.
Out a mortgage to pay for it. But anyways, and I'm not saying one's right, one's wrong. Just saying there's a big difference between what they are mass productions today.
Right.
I didn't get my fingernails painted. That's like all the gas. I'm sure everyone's like, what? My toes probably weren't painted either.
I don't think I cleaned the dirt out from under my fingernails.
But anyways, but so we didn't even consummate our marriage on our wedding night, which I think is probably which is probably very common.
More common than, yes.
Because, things, people are tired and exhausted. But anyways, we simultaneously woke up at the same time and just looked at each other and we're like, we don't have to say goodbye. We're in the same bed. It was that first night of spending the night together.
Yes. And we never got completely undressed.
No.
I mean,
I just took my
you hoop or whatever that thing was on your dress.
Yeah. Again, this was the 80s. So I had a big
I remember
big dress.
We had been out late because we did go to a quote unquote bar.
We went to a Holiday Inn bar.
And it was a bar,
or something.
and you were underage, but you had on a wedding dress, so they weren't going to keep you out.
Yeah, they asked me but I'm like, I don't even have a purse. When we were family, we were their siblings and some
from
the
friends,
groom's people. Yeah,
my buddies from high school.
Yeah,
and so then, and we didn't stay at the Holiday, and we went to the Red Roof Inn across the street.
They had a restaurant / bar or whatever. Yeah.
And but I'm saying where we spent the night was the Red Roof. No, I don't think that's what it was called.
Yeah, whatever
anyway,
it was.
It was the Howard Johnsons.
Yes.
It was the Howard
Which,
Johnsons.
like 7 years later, they had a mass murder.
They had a killing.
At that same place.
Yes.
It's like very weird.
I remember we went up to the room and we were really tired.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat down on the foot of the bed
and
laid back. So both of our feet were on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm still in black tails.
Uh-huh.
You're in your wedding gown.
My
and we
Southern
fell asleep.
Belle, yeah.
And we fell asleep. We woke up. It was about 3 a.m. And we had only slept a couple of hours at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we were a little bit giddy. And I think at that point I took off my coat, my tails, and my tie.
And you unbuttoned the 100 buttons on my dress, and then
I took off my pants and socks, and then we just got in bed, and just slept.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went down for breakfast that morning. We're like, I'm so embarrassed. Everybody's looking at us. I'm like,
everybody thinks we did it, and I'm like, we haven't.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But here's some scripture that I want to throw at you, which I had to do some digging, all right? So in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 says, pay attention to this because I'm talking about intimacy. The husband must fulfill his duty to his wife. And likewise also the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise, also the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Stop depriving one another, except by agreement for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer and come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. Isn't that freaking awesome?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what they're talking about? Conjugal visits. I mean, you used to look at them as conjugal visits.
Oh man, you're getting to one of my don'ts.
This should be number 3. You're on your number 3.
I know. I said you're getting to one of my don'ts.
Oh.
Also, I think when it says, unless you put it away for a season, some might want to put it away for the red tent.
Well, that's biblical.
I know.
That's certainly biblical.
I know. I'm just saying, well, it just said, devote yourself in prayer. And I'm saying you could also do that for the red tent.
Yes.
Some of us ain't in the tent anymore.
But I could have been Moses. I didn't care. But anyway. All right. I want to jump over into Song of Solomon, chapter 4. You have made my heart beat faster, my bride. I actually don't like reading it the way it's written because it's a little bit scary, because it says, you have made my heart beat faster, my sister, my bride.
No.
I know.
No.
You have made my heart beat faster with a single glance of your eyes, with a single strand of your necklace. How beautiful is your love, my bride. How much better is your love than wine, the fragrance of your oils than all kinds of spices. Your lips, my bride, drip honey. Honey and milk are under your tongue. And the fragrance of your garment is like the fragrance of Lebanon. I could go on, but you get the drift.
I got the drift.
I think that we choose not to talk about intimacy.
Right. It's a gift.
It is a gift of God, and we need to relish in that. In Hebrew, chapter 13, if I can get over there.
You got a new Bible. You got to break it.
And
in.
the pages get stuck together pretty good here.
That's why I refuse to get a new one, even though it's
I know.
hanging on by a thread.
Marriage is to be held in honor among all, and the marriage bed is to be undefiled. For fornicators and adulterers God will judge. And then finally, when we're talking about intimacy, got to go back to the beginning, where I started.
Where they're naked.
Genesis chapter 2. What I read at the beginning of this, I read out of Genesis chapter 2, verses 22 through 24. And I stopped at 24. Chapter 2 ends at verse 25. Just to refresh your memory, I'll start at 22 again. It says, the Lord God fashioned into a woman the rib which he had taken from the man, and brought her to the man. The man said, this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. For this reason a man shall leave his father and his mother, and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And verse 25, and the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed.
You have quoted that to me many times.
Just things to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I had for my 3, baby. Did you have any
That's
closing thoughts that you wanted to, you want to run yours down real quick one more time?
No, I guess let me just, I had a list of
Scriptures,
but, for time's sake, I'm just going to just do a couple. So, and I just yanked that right out of there, using that as a marker. So I'm going to just do a generalization here of marriage real fast. So in Colossians 3:12 through 14, it says, put on then as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other as the Lord has forgiven you. So you also must forgive. And above all, these put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony.
I love that.
And then also, I feel like that just kind of sums up marriage. We don't think of that as a marriage passage, but I think it just sums up. And as we think about, I always think of that, especially as the wife, that my role is to be of service to you and our children when they were in the house. Some days I feel like I'm still of service to them. But in keeping of the home and keeping, things going and running and making this the place that when you come home, that everything's taken care of and you don't have to do things, especially when things are stressful, that, this is just where you come home, you relax, and then you're free to tend to me. I say that tongue in cheek, but you understand. So then it's just us time. Everything else is done, and it's just about me and you, because your time is very precious when you are around. And so then in 1 Thessalonians, the one other thing I was going to say as a don't, because I guess I took this a little wrong. I thought we were writing 3 things are do's and 3 things that are don't. So one thing that I had put as a don't, I had put 1 Thessalonians 4:11 through 12, and it says, brothers, to do this, okay, I better start in 10 then. It says, for that indeed is why when you are doing all the, hang on, I got to find a better breaking point here. Now concerning, we'll start in 9. Now concerning brotherly love, have no need for anyone to write to you, for you yourselves have, this is obviously Paul writing to the Thessalonians, for you yourselves have been taught by God to love one another, for that indeed it indeed is what you are doing to all the brothers throughout Macedonia. But we urge you, brothers, to do this more and more. Here we're good. And to aspire to live quietly and to mind your own affairs and to work with your hands as we instructed, so that you may walk properly before outsiders and to be dependent on no one. And I just thought that would fit, that we just kind of keep what happens in our house in-house and not, I thought that was also fitting with social media and all the things.
agree.
Just kind of keep things,
But
have
not,
a life that is quiet.
yes, but not to keep it to be deceptive.
No.
You know what I want to be clear, right? I know what you mean.
Don't be dramatic. Let's
Correct,
not
correct,
be
correct,
drama
correct.
filled. And it,
Well, you've brought this, and so then I can't do this without closing, and I will share this. I did not share this, and I know we're going long, but I can't find a good stopping point for this. But at this moment, because I am a very blessed and fortunate man, and I have seen this exhibited through you, through a lot of women in my life. And so I just want to read this to all you young men. When you are dating with intent, here's what you ought to be looking for. And it says, an excellent wife who can find? For her worth is far above jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She looks for wool and flax and works with her hands in delight. She is like merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She rises also while it is still night and gives food to her household and portions to her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. From her earnings she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She senses that her gain is good. Her lamp does not go out at night. She stretches out her hands to the distaff, and her hands grasp the spindle. She extends her hands to the poor, and she stretches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She makes coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates. When he sits among the elders of the land, she makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies belts to the tradesmen. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she smiles at the future. She opens her mouth in wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and bless her, her husband also, and he praises her, saying, many daughters have done nobly, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the product of her hands, and let her works be praised in the gates. For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and shall be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This mystery is great, but I am not speaking with reference to Christ and the church. Nevertheless, each individual among you also is to love his own wife even as himself, and the wife must see it as she respect her husband.